Mr. Leo, how you do?
Good morning. I am
Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy birthday too.
Oh no, I forgot about that one. Oh, I don't even like my video screen. Because I've not set up my studio yet. Good morning, Michelle. Merry New Year. Happy Christmas.
Good morning.
We're on TV or YouTube and thing, Leo. So you have to tell. You probably forget, but you have to tell them people hello too.
All right, so good morning, everyone. This is Leo Gilling, and I'm in a cold place, and that's why I dress like this. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Diane. Good morning, everybody. Long time in the see you. It's really good to be here. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, prosperous New Year, and I hope that 2023 brings you something that you never had before. That's going to make you create fun and entertainment and also prosperity for you in the future. So here I am, Leo Gilling, back on the show this morning for 1 hour.
Yes, and we appreciate the 1 hour that you're here. So welcome, Mr. Leo. Let me see who is chatting. Mish, you on the people them fast chat?
Yeah, man, try get onto it.
So Leo, a whole heap of things going on in Jamaica now. We all have gold down here.
It's not just gold. Yeah, well, you're right, because I made a post on. I'm gonna try to speak English this morning because people tend not to understand my patwa. But gold, yes, in the sense that I think it's the 4th or the 5th time that an employee struck gold stealing from the bank. So I agree with you. $30,000 US yesterday evening, after I posted yesterday that I'm concerned. I'm very, very concerned about not just the banking system, but any financial system that is there that people have access to. For 4 people, 5 people in 18 months, that is not a good look at all for a country like Jamaica that depends on tourism, depends on its diaspora, and is as always asking us to come and get a piece of the rock, to invest and get a piece of it. That doesn't even sound good, but aside from the crime that is so high throughout the rest of the world, So anyway, yes, gold struck.
Well, actually, Leo, I wasn't thinking about the gold that people borrow from other people's account. I was more thinking about the gold down in Hanover.
The fool's gold thing. But the natural gold.
Yes. But we certainly can't overlook the gold where you mentioned, say the people them borrow the people them money.
Boy.
And the year just start. Well,
these things happened last year. And it's a sad look on our country. What kind of, I always ask this, because when government asks me for my email and telephone number, me have a problem with them asking. When you come back to Jamaica, ask me for email and telephone number. I have a problem with it. I ask me which part me work and all them things. I have a problem with them kind of question anyway. Because I always
ask them the question that when you open bank account everywhere else, they ask you that the question.
Yeah, where is my personal information stored and locked so that people can't get it? Because I have a serious problem with anything there.
Yeah, we can't lock our information. Michelle, we started off by saying that there's gold, but Leo, know him take it, twist it around now and bring in the scandal out at there's an investigation at NCB. It's alleged that there is some 30,000 US issue there. That's the starting figure, I suppose. But then there is another $1 billion transaction that affect over 20 persons collectively. I don't know if you've heard about it. I'm going to read the article. But it is concerning. Leo has raised a point that the diaspora is concerned, and as a member, him always object when they are asking for his mother address and his mother date of birth and all of those things, and his phone number.
But not every year we see this happening. Wasn't it last year somebody got sentenced for the same thing, I think, from Scotia?
I
So
think it was NCB, but
NCB too?
it's
Wow.
not, you know, this is the first time that I've seen. Do you know that Jamaica's banking system was rated or ranked #1 in the world a couple of years ago? #1.
Yeah.
Because we take so much painstaking time to open an account and to draw money from the account, pretty much, right? But in the past year and a half, we've seen people that got jailed for how much millions of dollars that them take from people's account. And you know, this is just 5 in 18 months. How many bank accounts are out there that have been that's been severed?
How many people not talk because some people just try work it out.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
I'll read the article January 13, 2023 from the Observer, and it says $1.2 billion fraud. The Financial Services Commission is putting reins on the operation of investment firm Stock and Securities Limited, SSL, following news of a monumental fraud at the entity that sources say amount to more than 1.2 billion. And it continues that Olympian sitting member of parliament, more than 30 people whose investments at SSL are believed to be among those fleeced by a wealth advisor who was recently fired by the company. The directive was issued on the implications for the solvency of SSL based on a letter sent to FSC on January 10th. So the FSC issued the directions this morning pursuant to section that, and it go through it. The directions impose strict reporting requirements on the entity and prevent the entity from disposing of any assets. The sources said that the last account statement, and they referred to one of the main persons, Mr. Bolt, who suffered the major loss.
Diana, it was just a couple of days ago we hear that Bolt lose millions of dollars, you know.
Yes.
And then yesterday we found another case in NCB, because remember the NCB manager went to take it and buy house and
the lady,
land and,
yes,
and cow and goat and all them things. Remember that? Remember? Right?
Yes. And the lady who had, but them said that.
And then 3 months ago, at Sagicor, was it 2 sisters?
Yes, no, they're not sisters. They seem to be church sisters.
Oh, okay. Sisters in the Lord, right? Okay. and then where is this going? That is a deep question. It's a question that is.
I really don't know. Then I don't know. It's like everything is billions now, because just in Leo, you probably haven't seen it. $7 billion cocaine bust at Kingston Freeport Terminal. A massive, and this is the Observer.
Anybody get caught?
Seizure was made at the Kingston Freeport Terminal on Saturday morning, according to a reliable police source. Reports are that the contraband is estimated to weigh hundreds of kilos and was found concealed among the cargo of a vessel which arrived from Colombia on Friday. According to the source, the total value of the drugs could be in the region of US $50 million. Boy, billions.
Nobody will get caught. Nobody will get caught, right?
And me can tell you, I know me them send it to. I know me them send it to.
Well, next
no,
thing you know,
I have no shipment that come from Colombia. I have no money to pay that the shipping fee. VM Heslop is on
oh yeah,
YouTube.
Sorry guys,
and she says good morning everyone, and VM says church sisters, that makes it worse. All in the name of glory.
Okay, sorry people, I'm back and forth. I have my son this weekend, so
I'm not seeing you.
You're not seeing me?
I am. I think Diane,
okay.
something is wrong with Diane's eyes, but it's okay. I am not enjoying my video, guys. Forgive me. Me not set up my studio and set up yet. Forgive me. But when you can hear my voice good, I can say I have one Tom. What do you call him again? Beanie.
Hoodie.
Hoodie.
I have one hoodie.
Oh, this is the
I don't know
hoodie.
that it's hoodie. It
Huh?
might have been spelled hoodie, but it's hoodie.
But Diana, for years, the diaspora has been saying things like, when are we gonna get rid of, when are we gonna reduce crime? Where's the trust that we developed in Jamaica a few years ago? What happened to that trust? It's gone. What about the pride and the pridefulness that Jamaicans have about, you know, existence, relationship, interacting with each other? You know, because now it has now moved out of killing and dishonesty, we call it pretty larceny and stuff. Now it's gone into the banking system. So somebody in the banking, people in the banking system start saying, well, me have, look on the amount of money, Jesus, peace, this money, I have too much money in the account. This money, I have too much money in the account. They need to share it with me, you know, and then move it out, you know, just like they go take the people and goat and say, you have too much goat. You know, me want this a goat here.
I don't know if they say we have too much goat. Then probably say, boy, I mean, if you keep a party and somebody ever buy the goat, the fact that somebody going to buy the product from them is the whole ripple of it. There is a market.
So the point is, there is a deep concern for who we are as a people, because now it has moved from place to place to place, like crime moved from Kingston to Mandeville to Clarendon and St. Louis. That's how it's going. It's just rippling, and it's in all sectors of our society, up to ministers.
Why? I don't want you to bring the church in here talking about up to ministers.
I never said pastors, but you know, put anything past them. It's a ministers, members of parliament.
Okay, Clarice, some of the comments. Jackson said, COVID, ? Pauline said, good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Leah, where are you? You look as though you're experiencing cold weather. Lauren said, blessings and good morning, everyone. Jose de la Cruz said, blessings from Toronto. Lorna said, good morning, guys. I'm glad to see you. Know. Lorna said, Leah really concerned about the banking fraud. He worried about his billions.
Yeah!
No, sir. Leo, we can't help you. That's with the billions.
No, it is, you know, I don't worry about Usain Bolt. As I said, right? I don't worry about Usain Bolt, because Usain Bolt, once the firm accepts the responsibility, he's going to get his money back. The point is, how do we trust the people who we are putting in trust in fiduciary duties, in trusting people who we are supposed to trust at the highest level?
I don't know. I'm worried.
They're asking us to move our money from out of our beds, where it's very comfortable, right? And move it into bank accounts. But then the bank accounts is going.
Okay, but they just have one. It just come to me. Don't they have a campaign now to invest in Jamaica?
Yeah.
That is biggest campaign now, right?
Yeah,
to invest. So with all of this coming out, no, this is not a good look for Jamaica.
Yes, Michelle, you catch up with the party. You catch up with the session where we have here today.
God,
it's not a good look.
Not a good look.
How are you going to get, and I'll tell you this, that a couple of the shameful things that happened in the past were people who own bank accounts from the diaspora in Jamaica, and they are, and it's the US bank accounts that they're going to take these monies. You understand? And they don't want some money, you know. It's sit down too long. That kind of thing.
I don't know. It's disheartening at best. I don't know any other way to say it. It is concerning. I can understand persons who are returning residents who would probably come back with them little money that them sell off them house and then put it into something to turn it over for them. And it is concerning. It is concerning for the average Jamaican as well, because there's a JDIC thing that it only covers up to, I think, 800,000 or $1 million Jamaican dollars. So regardless of how much money you lose out of it, per institution, per bank account, that is all that you're going to recoup.
Even in the US bank account?
It don't matter. It don't matter what is the denomination in which you hold the currency.
Well,
it's the same Jamaican amount.
That's for the bank, though. This firm that Usain Bolt is a
investment
firm that's different. But
it would fall under the deposit-taking institution,
the deposit bank,
with a bank.
Yeah.
But it just sadly, like people in the diaspora get hit two ways. Before they used to go down with their money, they rob them. They said to them, it's safer to put it in the bank. Wire it to the bank, you're safe. Now they find another way to hit them.
So the money nicely tucked away in the bank and they still thief it.
Yeah, so you win and lose. You can't win. Just keep your money where it's at.
Well, I am so. Are you guys hearing a beep in my phone? No.
No.
Okay, good. I am more. I'm very, very concerned now about the people of Jamaica who are at risk of losing, their funds. That's really hard. And the people of the diaspora.
You're only concerned about the people in Jamaica. You're concerned people would lodge their money at Jamaica.
Yeah, well, yes, agree. It's unfortunate.
We can't give up still. There's still institutions that have not suffered such major losses.
Diana.
Yes.
I don't think it's fair for you to say that to us.
I know, but what I'm going to tell you now, I have to still encourage you, because if the money not come, we don't have, remember, so we don't have no productivity taking place down here now. So the little cocaine come and
then take away.
Then take away. That's $7 billion. So I don't know. I have to still encourage you to come back to Jamaica, to follow up on the bank statements, make sure so that the balance is them consistent with your expectations. You just have to manage it yourself. You just have to keep managing it yourself.
But Diana, did they catch anybody? Did they catch anybody with the quote this morning? Because I don't understand why is it.
No, isn't. Well, them don't give a full sum report yet. We soon hear who it was sent from. We soon hear who it was assigned to.
No, we're not. You hear about the one at St. Mary yet? We're not hear about the one at St. Mary.
That's not true, Diana. That's not true. Yeah.
What do you mean it's not true? Then if a barrel come to Jamaica, don't it usually have somebody sending it?
All right, but did they find it in St. Mary at the airport?
Yeah, we don't hear anything about St. Mary.
They find the amount down at St. Elizabeth, the $5 billion.
But don't somebody would have to send it, like send a barrel, and somebody would have a big person to collect it. It just seems easy to me, but I don't know. Probably my math's wrong. Leo.
You check YouTube, Dr. Dana? You check YouTube?
Yeah, so VM says, I had some money, VM said, I have had money stolen from me in Jamaica. I had to get a lawyer and I did not get it all back. Stolen from the bank, Heslop? Or somebody you're lending money to and then rob you?
Jose de la Cruz said the politicians of our nations in the West Indies are solely responsible for the deterioration of our society.
I agree.
I don't know that they're solely responsible for it.
I agree.
We must take collective responsibility.
That's where it started. That's where it started when it start this finagling with criminals and paying criminals to do things and have criminals at their side during election, then that tear down the population. It start making the people, the dons in the communities, being the leaders of the communities, and people get disoriented about, okay, what is leadership? Leadership is donemanship, or is it,
So you're saying that there's an erosion about the morals because because of that alliance.
The only thing that holds a society together, the only thing that holds a society together, it's the moral fiber, that strength, that backbone that tells us, that's why you learn right from wrong.
But it starts with the family, don't start with the politician. It starts with the family structure.
No, not at all. Once the ministers and the MPs put themselves in a position, who are supposed to be leaders, put themselves in a position that shows the populace that we can do wrong and get away with it, then the population going to start doing it.
Oh, I get it. So you're saying, you're really saying that if them upfront with the wrong,
that's right,
and there are no consequences,
no,
then
yeah,
but
that's where the erosion starts.
It starts there, but I think that it continues to be perpetrated by family, because absolutely, even though your mother always said you don't have to follow your friend, and this is the friend that is influencing you, but your morals from your house supposed to say no. I worked in the banking system, and yes, people had money in them in them account, but there was nothing that would make me think it was okay to take the people money. There's absolutely nothing. And never mind, this person is purporting that some family member was sick and overseas and needed help. It still don't make it right.
It doesn't. It does not. It's, you can grow up in the worst neighborhood, which is very, very hard to do. You can grow up in the worst neighborhood. Yes, people around you are thief and juggy and scamming and everything. And as long as your mother set those protective shields in your mind, that when you walk out on the street, you know who you are, you can be different from everybody else. But it's not everybody stay the same way. It's not everybody who has that inner strength, that inner will to be able to withstand the pressures of everything on the outside.
But the inner will is driven by your mother, because I'm sure your mother inculcated those principles in you, that you start look over your shoulder if you think something wrong.
Yeah, big time. But I have to say this though. These kind of influences that are out there for children nowadays, I don't believe that we had those. You know what?
We never have no Twitter account.
We never had these things out there.
We have no Twitter.
It might have been a bit easier.
Media, something Twitter and this and it.
Yeah.
And that.
Yeah.
And everybody had pose side of things.
Every time you look, someone is upholding wrongdoing on Facebook or on Twitter. They're upholding wrongdoing, and kids who are coming up not knowing, even though their parents tell them, the fact is they're getting so many things bounced at them from different angles. They're going to suck in some of those things and start saying, hey, this is cool.
Yes. Let me read some more thing. Eslap says, from the bank, them they thief the money. Sean Chambers said, Leo, everything you laugh about, you need to take serious sometime and behave yourself today. Sean, he might behave himself in quite serious. He's serious because he's quite concerned about the people them losing the money, and particularly you people in the diaspora who come in faith, in good faith, and then borrow their money. Right?
Stop talking about borrowing, and I borrow. You are put up with the thing that man. Yeah, put up with it too. Jesus.
But Leo, it is alleged that they have borrowed it. Just like you're gonna say, it's alleged that they have stolen it. May I use a more modern, modest word?
Thief the money, okay?
They thief people money.
Yeah, some more. I guess because every week we hear so much bad things, it kind of draining actually. You want to find something positive about Jamaica right now, it kind of draining. Anything positive happened all week, what we can say?
Well,
there's hope.
Well,
Michelle, this week I went onto one of the newspapers, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading down all of the bad things and coming down. Because every report in the newspaper is something bad, right? Yeah. And then I saw a report that says this Jamaican student was the first to achieve a certain level in that school. I'm saying, this is boring. I'm moving on.
But you can go so then if you put it at the top of the news.
The point is, that is boring compared to Smutty T for board money.
Yeah.
You know, think about it.
Yeah. It just
Well,
bad, like.
St. Anne Police to tackle domestic violence. That's encouraging.
Yeah, that's good.
What that mean though?
St. Elizabeth most wanted in custody. Well, it says they are moving to tackle the problem, so they're probably getting up. Salt River roadway to be closed for repairs. So that's good. MP to secure social housing unit for teenage burn victims. So she going to get
what that mean? What that mean?
So see positives.
Insane, right?
It says that Member of Parliament for Western Westmoreland, Moreland Wilson, says plans are on to provide a house for 13-year-old. But them can't give her a house.
A 13-year-old
house burned down.
And her father. Her father.
Okay.
And as I said, I'm going to take this with joke.
You see, it's so hard to find anything good. Why?
Yeah.
Because the media mostly focus on it bad.
David Salmon's Rhodes Scholarship dream fulfilled. So there's a man who got awarded the Rhodes Scholarship. But it's always men getting the Rhodes.
So let's talk about that for the rest of the show. Or for the rest of the time that I'm here. Let's talk about that, because that seemed to be...
No, women have one, because I have 2 friends that won it.
Yeah, but it always seemed like, I'd love to see the numbers. Why all the girls them struggle, them go to university, more women than men in university. And yet there seems to be, by my crude statistic, a preference for men, that them always seem to be getting it over the girls.
Well, is it that the girls don't put in as much effort into it?
Into what? Into applying for
the application process, getting what is required.
I don't get the point. I don't get this point.
Well, she said more men are getting the awards.
The young gentleman's thing, or are we here, talking about? Everything else.
Yeah, that's what I said. Mostly men are getting it and not women. But I know
I don't know anybody else who get it. I don't know any.
I know 2 women that got it. They're teachers, educators, so they got it. But I don't know the process, but whoever apply and they won, they won.
This morning, for the past 2 years, the Global Teacher Award was given to a female.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same and I get it.
Yeah, some things I look at, do you meet the qualification? Thank you. But applaud that young man. His dream was realized, so that is major. And I guess he could be a mentor guy. Where is he from? Usually, if they have a Ghetto Story.
I think he comes from a Ghetto Story. But we will certainly look.
That's positive though, right?
So we talk about that. We're going to talk. COVID is something we need to talk about, But St. Mary in the news again. Again, there is this. Again, on the matter of money. This
can't stay upon positive.
but we have to be realistic. So businessman traveling with millions killed.
Then struggling.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to read it, to find out positive in the paper to read, and I think I've covered them. Robbery appears to be the motive in the murder of a businessman in St. Mary on Thursday, after the police recovered more than $7 million from the scene. Now, I go to this because earlier in the week, there was a similar incident in Manchester where some people traveling with cash came under gunfire. Or late last week, it might have been, but since the start of the year. And I say to say that when people come to Jamaica, or when you're in Jamaica, just be more careful. Don't transport the money yourself. You understand? Because somebody seemed to know that this man is traveling with this money, or somebody seemed to know that these other Chinese people were traveling with this cash and decide to, again, the police is saying robbery seemed to have been the motive. So we have to be careful. So the positive out of that is that we need to be careful.
Last week, there was a gentleman who got held at the airport with drugs going out of the country.
Yes.
And he happened to have been the brother of
Phillips.
Yes, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, the first thing that came out after that was Phillips denying his lineage to his brother, saying,
what he says, not your brother.
I mean, I nothing to do with him. What an example that you set. You know what I mean? To me, if your child, your brother, especially the people who are in your immediate family, whether it's a step brother or a born brother or a bastard brother, you know, whatever it is.
What's a born brother? But anyway.
jacket brother, whatever it is. Those are immediate families. And you don't go out and say, to me, it's easier on the society morally to say something like, you know, yeah, he is my brother. I don't know him. We haven't talked for a while, but you know, I will support him, whatever it is. That nobody can blame you for supporting your brother, you know, and your brother. I know you do it, you know. But the best thing that in a life, that this best example that you can set is to say to the general public as a leader that, you know, he's my brother. I'm sorry that it happened to him. You know, I know that he will, you know, the law will take its course, and
yes,
whatever.
have a fulsome presentation.
Yes.
And embrace the reality that your brother, if you're half brother, your daughter brother, are just your friends.
Foolishness, you know, that make you so not a leader.
Yeah, it's probably just a reaction than it was to give serious thought to it. Because if you hear that there is a family member who you probably not seen how much year, you never grow with them and you not the same, you just never grow together. So yeah. One live as a one live the other. You really don't know that person, but it's still family. I get the point, but I can understand the right off the cuff response to something that is so dire. Is to say, but me not really know him. I'm a brother, but me not know him.
I know what has happened. I know what took him. What took him was the possibility that the rest of the opposition or the other party is going to come down at him and say, are your brother, so are you, that kind of thing. Because that's the whole thing about politics these days, is about blaming somebody, finding somebody who you can blame and tie to it. That's what this is all about, you know. That's what politics comes around to. But it's like having an employee, and it's your company, and the employee goes out representing you and commit a crime out there. You can't say no, your employee is your employee.
Yeah, but me not know him. I'm an employee, but me not know when capable of or when not do.
Right, but you employ him and he's representing you. So it's
in my opinion,
your company.
In my opinion, he did the right thing. How if you have your father, stepfather, whoever, big politician are involved in a drugs, and have your name called a big in it? That's embarrassing. I would disown him. And he's 50-something. 50-something years old. He should know better, be doing better.
Messages and
let me read them. All right, Marlon said, hi, Michelle, sending greetings from Hague. I am jealous. Laura said, I believe, and it's disheartening that the politicians are usually involved in a lot of crime that is taking place. I must say, not only in Jamaica, Lord help us. Lorna said, yes, Leo, we vote for and hire the politicians. We go for a job, we have to produce resume, do background checks. Politicians just need to be loud and popular. Marlon said, will Shane recover his money? More than likely. Joseph said, as a parent, you can influence a person for the most part until they go into society at early of adulthood and they are confronted with dysfunctional society and has to be part of it. Marlon said, if you are a foreign national with interest and property in January, you have to come to Jamaica once or twice each quarter to oversee things. That is true, you have to be involved. Philip said, good morning, glad I'm able to listen in today. Welcome, Philip, thanks for tuning in.
Right, and we need to comment. I think Philip had cancer treatment earlier this week, so we're really, really happy that he's here.
Yeah.
I promised that I'd be here for an hour, so please, you know, so
well,
going at 11
just
o'clock, right?
Start now, so let us turn on the clock and start keeping the time.
Start the clock.
Good to see Lorna Hamilton Blackwood on. Haven't seen her in a little while. Yes, we agree that.
Yeah. Me follow Lorna on Facebook all day long.
Yeah, follow her and she grow some vegetable then.
Yeah.
How your garden going? Did you do anything?
No, you can't do no garden no. I'm not Carolina today. Jesus.
No, that's a Guyana.
I have a bag of soil.
Oh,
I have some dry beans for planting. I actually had, you know, the beans that you put when you cook cow skin and cow foot.
Yeah.
Those broad beans. Yes, I have broad beans, and I kept the trash from picking the beans because I went and do the compost. So I went and put the layer. So I layer that.
You have any goat on the back? Any goat on the back?
My composting. Yes.
Any goat on the back?
Eh?
Any goat on the back?
No, I can't find none. You know, anywhere I can borrow too. And I thinking seriously because Michelle didn't dare me about the chicken, and I said I went and get 6 chicken. I went and get a little coop, and I went and get 6 chicken.
Yeah, a little coop.
Diana, you have big backyard, right? So you can just let them fall loose run back.
No. Then I will clean up that. No, sir. Me and them going to have to go stay in.
When we have grew up, fill backyard. Well, we never have backyard. We have a tenement yard and not fall all over. We can just go pick up one fall and get an egg, whatever it is, you know. Or we can go.
Not on your yard, not your fall.
Put the fall under the body of the fall under the pan and just whack the head.
No, man. M. Sterling Green is on, and she says lack of accountability. Them not big enough. And she's speaking to the politicians about the challenges that we're having. But Leo, going back to that, so you just go pick up somebody chicken and take the chicken.
In a tenement yard, anybody fall. You're hungry, go and go eat.
So you actually kill the fowl too?
You go eat it.
Oh, you mean?
You go eat it.
Let me hold on, man. What do you mean by kill the fowl?
So you take the fowl and you slaughter the fowl like it's your fowl, and you never buy it?
You just put it on one pan, put the body under the pan, and whack off the head, then lift up the pan and make the body run all over the place.
Oh, you do that? My granny used to tie them upside down and chop off the head, so then the splutter and the blood just when they make it run around.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's good to see the fowl actually get up on 2 foot and run around the place.
Yeah, they're very active for a while.
Without the head.
And as I says, yeah, run like chicken without the head.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have nowhere going.
Hence,
Sandra said, Lord,
Lord,
good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. Long time no see you know.
Yes.
Oh, yes. VM Eslop, M. Sterling Green, she says fall killing. M. Sterling said fall killing. She obviously understands that.
Oh gosh. M. Sterling, VM Heslop said, look at USA with George Santos. May have a Melissa things for doing.
What's going on with George Santos?
There are some Republicans who are calling for him to demit office.
Yeah, he's saying 140,000 people for him have to make him step down. So it's going nowhere.
Like, if he's an elected official, all he have to do is just look like George Wright. I mean,
Hey, that make them come out.
Oh, wait, and he named George too.
and then in George too.
Rockstone.
George right, you know.
What happened to Georgie?
Island say, this is my area. Nobody can
Yes,
move
What
it.
to Georgie?
But really and truly, should he have been allowed to sit in the
All of them
Georgie?
corrupt and liar wicked. So
Yes, he can, because it's not no. If he were an appointee in the Senate,
yeah.
then they could move him. The prime minister could move him, or the leader of the opposition. But he's an elected official from his constituency, which makes him a representative of the people, and the people want Georgie, and so he has to be there until they remove him. That's the way the law go.
Wow. So only the people can remove him, or the long arm.
I think it's some major criminal.
That would have to go through court and all that.
Yeah. Because what happened is that they did a long list of a lot of the politicians who actually sat there in Congress that have lied through the years.
Really?
Worse than him. And
About their qualifications?
Yeah, their history, everything.
Wow.
And they said they served, nobody got rid of them. So I would know, we hear it all the time, like nothing is gonna happen to him. If he does a good job, they'll keep him there. If not, they vote him out.
I did not know that a politician's words in parliament is protected under the Constitution. That you cannot carry them, go to jail or charge them for anything when they say on the floor. I did not know that.
Yes, man. That's why they can't talk foolishness in there.
Oh my God, no wonder it went along so. Okay.
They are protected. Sandra said, I know what Leo is talking about. I used to do that. I didn't chop the head, but I would sit on the pan and dance with the body. Can't believe I used to do that. Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
What they call that? A co-conspiracy. To this slaughter.
Murder.
Co-conspiracy. You know, man, I'm lock on all up. Sterling Green's laughing out about the fowl killing. She's sorry for the fowl them. Oh my gosh, that's not funny.
It was funny, but I think the wicked part is when we let the fowl loose from under the pan. I think that's wicked. We need to catch it, and but do you know how to pick a fowl, right? You actually take that same fowl with the 2 foot and put in the hot water. Put in the hot water, right? And pick it. It froze, you see? Jesus Christ.
What's frozy? The picking of the plucking of the fowl.
The water and because the fowl ain't no beard, you know. So fowl stink bad, you know. So the feather.
You ever do that, Diana?
It froze it bad. I mean,
I keep forgetting you're from Clarendon.
Yeah, she's tush. Once you put that hot water, that fowl in that hot water, and the feather them hit that hot water, you better move your face. Think. Yeah.
Oh, Laura said, Leah, that's some frackle bull. What's that?
That's not true. You don't understand. But
what that mean?
I don't know. What I think them saying is not true, but I don't think Laura understands.
I guess that, yeah, she not come from country.
Who that? Who not come from country?
Laura Palmer.
So I want to go back to the matter of George Santos in the US. And note that they started to call for him to step down after they actually had the voting in of the Speaker of the House. And I figure it's probably just a matter of timing that it wasn't convenient for them to ask for it before. But if you were in George's position, would you allow, what would you do? What would you do? Would you step down now that the rest of your colleagues saying step down, or would you stay?
No.
Colleagues can. Yeah, no.
No. Why?
You wouldn't step down.
They know what happened. The people who were running against him did not do their job because it was a simple Google search. They could have unraveled all of this before he actually won. After I win, all of this have come out, really? And it's like he's old. Where you say, all right, if back in the day, it's hard to find this information. All of this stuff he had on social media. Everything that they mentioned, he literally had on social media. Who was he running against? So he got there on the line, so he's gonna stay there. I would not quit. Like
he's not, he can't
Democrats
quit. He
fail
can't quit
to do their
because
job.
in colleagues say must quit. He must quit
Exactly.
because the people who vote for him say
Yeah,
he
but
must
I'm
quit.
saying, what would you do? Because you have
I'm
that
not quitting
moral
because I'm
conscience.
representing the people of my constituency.
Well, the thing
You
is
would
that
remain.
Of
Dr.
course.
Dana, you asked about morals. I could not marry Leo because you never have no morals when you run for life.
Exactly. That's
So
my
you're already
point.
morally corrupt.
That is true.
And that's sign one. We would have never run on it because we would have think about reputation, integrity,
We're
and
afraid.
would have
That's
been
true.
honest up front. Right?
Okay, I will tell a little lie much more have a but how the gall of any person to make up a resume like that at the highest level. So is what kind of politics do they really play America?
Stop it. Because uno sell degrees down at Jamaica.
We not sell no degree down here no more. Buy them online from foreign.
Laura said, yes, I'm from Redlands in Clarendon. Do you know
Redlands. Laura Palmer,
Yes.
our name Redlands.
I mean, Diana know Redlands in a Clarendon.
Yeah, I mean, know
yeah.
everything about Clarendon. Tell me about
Sam
Redlands.
Cranny. Tyrone said it's true. Lorna said, my daughter went to country and see my grandmother kill a chicken. She did not eat chicken for many years. Our granny went evil. Why should we do that? With some
Traumatizer.
with some said, when we were growing up, we didn't think of nothing else but having chicken for dinner. It was cruelty for us. It's feeding our family. Chicken, pig, goat, pelling. I think that is
and egg. And you get egg from a chicken. I mean, you pull the, I tell this on the show all the time. You put your finger up in there and get the egg before it.
Granny used to do that.
Of course, you get the egg.
Or when they kill them, and sometimes they still like the egg forming.
Yes, then take them.
Boil it.
Cook that egg too. But look here. Michelle, you remember when Michelle first come on the show, in going like you don't know nothing about country life? How does Michelle know?
No, Michelle always talk about those things that she can recall. No matter country.
How do you know that?
Because Michelle used to grow foul.
Michelle, listen. I want to talk about again George Santos. Michelle is a George Santos in Tell Me Lie on the show.
Michelle tell a lie to wicked.
I always talk about my granny.
She always talk about her grandma and what her grandma do and say the food
You have a guest named Dante Matthews.
Yeah, Dante, he's coming on at 11. I guess he logged on early.
Okay.
He's going to talk about road safety. So when he comes
he needs to talk about that in a big way.
Yeah.
Because I saw an accident down at Dan last night and it's really bad.
Huh?
Yeah, man, it's horrible.
In Manchester.
Yes. I see the increase in it. I don't know what the numbers are, so I was going to check it.
Or more people, like Calasta people.
Do you remember in December there was a big accident, and I hope Dante can give you guys some highlights on this. Because up to this point,
on the airport strip.
On the airport strip, we don't know the details of that.
Did you see the car, Leo?
Eh?
You did see the car?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. We still don't know what the details of it. Or Russian man, they say, I drive and kill.
Yes.
What did they charge him?
What really happened? No, we don't hear nothing about it.
We don't know if them charge him. Just like how
is he a diplomat? Is he a diplomat that we can't charge him?
No, he never was a diplomat. I think he even works somewhere.
We don't know nothing about this case.
Hold
on. I'm follow up stuff.
Sandra Sterling says she's
yes, I just said laughing hard. Leo froze a long time. I didn't hear that word. I did that to dip the body in hot water to pick the feathers. Yes, I'm a country girl like Leo. Girl like Leo. Laura said the people in Long Island, New York, Republican, just to know what a Democrat. Also, don't just vote for anybody. Marlon said, yes, people buy degrees online. Lorna said, we need everything the ex-president did before election, yet people voted for him. Yeah, we knew everything. He is even planning again with added bad information. Yeah, people, but I think they're going to vote for him, but, you know, Dee said, good morning, everyone.
They will vote for Donald Trump.
Then they're waiting for DeSantis to say.
They will vote for Donald Trump. Still have a broad, long, wide volume of people out there that you would not believe.
Massive numbers.
They think you will go against
Bigly. I'll read this one, Michelle. It says, good morning, everyone. Nice to be watching live. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and condolences to Michelle on the passing of her mom. Wishing you all a prosperous new year. Thank you very much not McCurr for acknowledging that and offering your condolences to Michelle and her family. Thank you.
Yeah,
Back to
Laura
you,
said, Redland is close to Bullhead Mountain, the center of Jamaica.
Oh, that's in the
so it's near
center. That's in the
Southall and
center of
Crooked
our
River.
country.
Oh, it's near Crooked River then. I have an idea.
It run down the line of the backbone of Jamaica, the central part of Jamaica.
But
What?
really need to explore Jamaica, and I
Bullet,
always
the
say that.
Bullet.
Oh, Bullet is the highest point in central Jamaica. I used to go on as a Ash Wednesday hike. We would do mass on Ash Wednesday, and then after mass, we go on this hike up to the mountain.
Dan, let me ask you this. Did you do anything outside of church when you were growing up and school?
Yes, I go to school.
No, me quickly say school too.
But church was active. Church was engaging and interesting back then. Because let me see, I'd never really go football match and them think they're too tough. Again, that
You
was
ever go to dance?
huh?
You ever go to a dance?
No, I went to a dance when I was an adult. That was the first time I was going to a dance.
Something wrong with your
in
growing
fact,
up.
You were
That's
raised
it.
well, Dr. Dana. Don't follow Leo. You were raised well.
But we never have nobody. And then we're
A
home.
Caribbean country.
A country she come from? Where that?
Yeah.
A country she come from?
Country, so there was nothing much
Yes,
exposure.
and which
other
dance
than
you
Where,
going to
where,
have
where you
for
think
country?
Rockabest there? Where you think Rockabest there? Rockabest is that country.
Leo, for you,
But
you was a boy. You remember girls, you can't do what the boys
Actual girls, this is-
be a lady.
Anyway,
That is true. Boys is run all over the place.
You get to
Anyway,
go and dance, you probably get to go and gully, go swim.
every dance with all at Rockabest me today. Every show, I mean, I got a show from here like 7, 8 years
Oh, you mean you must go show? So there's a theater there?
What do you mean? A big,
But that's
when
the
they have
Dana,
this- when
really?
they have this show
one big
out in
zinc up
square.
place. One big zinc up place where you have to
That's
pull
a-
the zinc. You can't have the money 25 cents. You have to pull the zinc aside and somebody pull you in from back of the place and you get for that show. What you talk say? Big theater.
But they used to have a show thing that the JIS or it used to
Listen,
be
no come to where we no stush business.
It's not such. And they would come with the truck, but it's not API. It's
when we rat show because we not have the 25 cents to pay.
But Leo, it's not like the police are looking for you, you know.
Oh, I thought I was bad, but Dr. Diana, you beat me.
Michelle, you go show?
Eh?
You go
No,
show?
I never got show, but
Exactly.
you beat me. No,
Don't
I
you
know
talk
what
about
a
it.
show was. I know what it was. I wasn't allowed to go, but I know what it was. Cause my cousin
don't
them
got-
would have go. The boy them would have go.
Yeah.
But
We don't got a
but
movie
I
theater.
know that
We
there's
don't got
a
a movie
place
theater. We
that
got a
you'll go
show.
for a show.
We got
For
a show.
me, they would have a movie, but it would be the JIS or
Exactly.
it's called JIS now, but it
But
used to be
come on,
something
tell me,
else. And they would come with the trucks and they put the thing out and in the
Diana,
center.
Diana, stop it. Okay? Stop it.
No, serious man. Somebody
don't know-
else out
we
there
don't know.
must know. Palmer, you come from Bullet. Do you know when they would come with the thing and set up the speakers and have a movie?
oh my.
So,
So when you went to Kingston, you got exposed then.
no.
When I first
Look here.
I
am not the topic here.
country. What she talk about? I'm most Kingston she talk about.
Yeah, I was Kingston, she got me back.
API. Listen, in a 5
Who don't
years,
know about
API was JLP.
Agency for Public Information,
That
API.
was JLP and JIS was PNP. Did you know that?
It wasn't no JIS, it was API.
Right, API is the same JIS, but it changed name during the different parties.
Oh,
You never know that?
no.
Yeah, man. One of them was JLP and one was PNP. When PNP come in power, I think it was API. And when JLP come in power, it was JIS.
Or you sure they never just changed the name from API to JIS and then that was it?
No, it was JIS first. And when one party,
No, but we
which party
cannot
come-
pay them the foolish system. No, see so.
Yeah, man, it was. And then I remember, they killed it after a while. I think it was, I want to say it was Edward Siaga who changed it from
API.
JIS to API, Agency for Public Information.
Oh.
It's the same organization.
So we go
So I
from-
just said, Leah live in a country town, country with city perks. Yeah,
Really? Thank you, Bessie. Thank you so much for rescuing me. I just live in country where in front of me was the Trout Hall orange field. Behind me in my yard was my orange trees. Then I moved to Maypen, and then when I moved to Maypen, tada, that was City.
I have to go now, guys. 'Cause I have to
Thanks
leave.
for coming. See
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
It was good having
Yes,
you.
bye.
Take
I
care.
had fun. Yeah, man. Have a wonderful evening. Everybody,
yeah.
take care.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Dante,
So tell us about Mr. Dante coming on. All right, Leo, what
you know,
good?
yeah, Dante. Hi,
Hello.
hi.
Hi, good this morning still. Good
Yeah,
morning.
it's morning. Dante is gonna tell us. I was gonna do his bio, but I say best he talk about himself.
You
about
can do
his
it.
history. I guess a little history, like where are you from, like
All right.
who you attended and
Hey,
how you
let me
got
ask you a
involved.
question there. Dante, tell me where you come from.
All right. So I'm from Spanish Town, St. Catherine. I
He's
attended
a bad
Angels.
man.
No. No, I'm not. I'm
All
one of the
right.
good ones. I'm one of the good ones. So I'm from Spanish Town, St. Catherine, born and raised. I attended Angels Primary School. I attended St. George's College in Kingston. So that means I had to wake up early in the morning to go to school. I attended Northern Caribbean University, where I studied communication studies. I worked at the Jamaica Information Service. I heard a conversation a while ago about API and GIS and all of that. So I worked there as a broadcast journalist, left there, and I'm currently at the Ministry of Transport and Mining, Education and Information Officer, with responsibility for the Road Safety Unit and Island Traffic Authority. So I deal with the communication for those two units. I attend the Spanish Town Seventh-day Adventist Church here in, as the name says, Spanish Town. And yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
All right, we're happy to hear you. Before we go, let me just finish up this dancehall thing first. Winsome Pendergrass said every district have a place on the shop bottom, a place someone come with the reels and keep show. Yes, in the 70s, JIS, but it was mostly educational stuff. I attended a lot in St. James. So she got the dance.
Okay, the
I
dance.
wonder if her mother didn't know.
Okay.
Dante,
All right, so
that.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. I was gonna say, Dante, the reason I really wanted you on the show is like for me, I know people always say crime, and I always say this over and over. My biggest issue when I'm in Jamaica is the road.
Yes.
It's the vehicular, accidents, all these things. These people drive crazy. It's like, I don't know what, they think the cars can fly. So this is why I thought it was important to have you on, to even provide some education and highlight even what the government is doing to, I know the education is there, but what else are they doing to help to bring down the numbers of accidents that are happening?
Right, and
definitely.
And the fatalities. Again, think about it, Dante. Let me just finish up these. Sterling Green says, I never know Jamaicans selling degrees. It's an American thing that. Then that shows that people have no morals. Bad as it may be, we have it the hardest ways. She continues. Thanks for sharing. So yes, Dante, if you would take us through.
Okay, so last year we lost 488. 488, and that's just one over 2021. So we saw 487 in 2021. Last year, 488.
Every year, 400 people dead on the road, and we're not counting people them who get murdered.
I think they're doing. I think the police, they have statistics regarding murder rates and so. So yeah, so 488 and counting, because what happens if somebody, well, if a crash occurred last year and persons from that crash are injured, if they should die, let's say today or tomorrow, that number will still be added to last year because the crash happened last year.
Wow.
So we find that we have 488 currently. Today is the 14th of January. We have lost 8 persons already.
Wow.
8
In motor
persons.
vehicle accident?
Yes. Resulting from 7 collisions. So 8 persons from 7 collisions. And when we look at the statistics for last year and even the year before, 2021, the motorcyclists, they are the leading category.
Who are those people? The people that
the ones are right, the bike man and bike woman.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So they, for last year, over 140 motorcyclists out of the 488 lost their lives to road crashes. Over 140, because they're still tallying up, because some are still injured, Some are, and then maybe some weren't recorded. So as of now, I think it's 141. Well, I know it's over 140. It's not 150, but within that range, 140 something.
So don't
Then
let me on the matter of the motorbike. Is
Mhm.
it that them buying the bike them not good that they buy? Something is wrong with these bikes that we have here.
I don't think it's a matter of the bike, maybe, well, I can't say something is not wrong with the bike, maybe, but we also find that speeding is a major factor. In fact, speeding is the #1 cause for the majority of fatalities that we recorded. That's the #1 cause, followed by failure to keep to the proper traffic lane, and then overtaking improperly. We also have pedestrians. Yeah, we also have pedestrians, walking out into the road or, not looking when they're on the road. So those are some of the main factors contributing to road fatalities. Now, with the motorcyclists, the helmet is a big issue.
Oh,
No protective
Not wearing
they're
protective
not
gears.
wearing them.
Yeah,
Not wearing
no
them. And if they do wear them, they wear the ones that are not ideal. So it's the one that looks like a bucket or a plate cover or something like that. So if they should crash off a bike, it just falls off.
The one that anybody who know that there's this little cartoon, this comedy show with the people in the war thing. Oh gosh, the name escaped me as I think about it. There's a cartoon and the people are always in uniform and them have on this little
I don't.
I think I know they're talking in green. But also, when I look at it, the people that they have on the back, the riders on the back,
The pillions.
The pillions. Yeah, they have nothing. And I'm like,
and they should be wearing.
Exactly.
And then they have 3, 4, 5 people on the bike when really it's supposed to be the motorcyclist and the pillion passenger.
Exactly. So do they prosecute them?
Hold on. How you mean them have 4 or 5 people on?
Yeah, man. They have those, especially in Western Jamaica.
Yeah, they have it as taxi, right?
Yeah.
And it's a regular size bike that they're using 4 or 5 people on?
Regular, yes. So you have people lapping up and baby in arms, and it happens. So that's the other day we did a survey in, I don't know, I keep saying Long Island like I want to go New York. I think it's Green Island, Hanover. Yeah. We did a survey and we were looking at motorcyclists, and see how many of them were wearing helmets, how many of them have a learner's permit on the bike, because a lot of them, they have to have the learners before they move on to getting the license. But some of them don't even move on to get the license, they just drive with the learners. So we did a survey.
A bit for me, Dante. In order to ride a bike in Jamaica, you need to have a learner's license.
Yes, and they should be getting the real license, but some of them, I don't know why they were allowed to ride with the learner.
Limit, and nobody, when I'm learning to drive a car, somebody has to be there with you who has a license.
Yeah, man. So I'm going to touch that actually. I'm going to touch that actually.
Okay.
But so back to the survey that we did. We did over 50 motorcyclists plus their pillions, and none of them were wearing helmets. None, not even one to save the day.
Out of the 50?
Out of the 50. And I'm talking when I say 50, I'm talking 50 motorbikes. So some of them had 3 persons on it. So it was more than, so when you look at like the amount of persons, it's really more than 50. But it's 50 motorcycles that we looked at. Some of them had on the L, some of them didn't. And they were speeding and then you wonder why so many persons are in crashes. Now, they also when we look at the fatalities also, we're looking at not wearing elbow pads, knee pads. Some of them are wearing shorts and slippers.
Yeah.
Some of them are wearing, some of them are doing wheelies. So they're driving on one wheel.
They always lift up the bike like that.
Yes, making noise, cutting through traffic. So they should be in the traffic lane, but they are cutting through traffic. And another thing that they do, they remove the silencers from the mufflers. So that's why you hear those the gunshot sounds. And they remove the mirrors. Some of them remove the mirrors too. So I asked myself, how do you see when you remove the mirrors? How do you look to see what's behind you? So we find that some of them remove the mirrors so that the bike gets slimmer, so that they can go through traffic. So instead of staying in the traffic lane, they remove the mirror so that they can cut through in the lanes and, break stop signs and traffic lights and all of that.
So while I'm listening to you talk about that, not to cut you, I'm not sure if you can address that later. But do the police officers, they always have the traffic cops and everything.
Yeah.
Do they enforce the actual rules? Do they themselves know the rules to know that these motorcycles are not fit?
No, Michelle, what kind of thing that my police officers know the rules?
Because 50 motorcyclists, as they do this study, should not be on the road without helmet.
Without
And,
helmet. And I think it was.
they
I
should
think
be
it's
locked up already. The motorcycle
and
taken.
I think it's an issue with because we have a new road traffic act that's coming in effect February 1. So that replaces a 1938 act. So imagine that 1938. So under this new act, there are several things there are a lot of game-changing regulations and all that will bring strong fines and enforcements, especially when it comes to motorcyclists. So for example, a motorcyclist must buy a motorcycle with an approved helmet by law. And they can be fined if they are not wearing a helmet and if their pillion passenger is not wearing a helmet. So that's something that will be under the new Road Traffic Act. So they'll get fined.
Again. So if they buy a bike, they must buy a helmet.
Helmet with it, yes.
So that means that the person selling the bike better sell helmet too.
Yes, so they need to ensure that they sell the bike with a And then if they're not wearing a helmet when driving the bikes, they will be fined and they'll get demerit points on their license. Also, the pillion passenger, they're not wearing.
Difference, don't they? Because people are driving without points long time.
Well, that's one of the things that the Road Traffic Act is seeking to address now, because we realize that there were some lags in the system. So you find that, for example, the 8-vehicle crash that occurred on Constant Spring Road, I think last year. I don't know if you heard about it, where the busman caused that pile up on Constant Spring Road with the crash. That driver had over 120 tickets.
Oh yeah.
And persons were wondering how was he allowed to be driving with over 120 tickets? So you find that there were some disconnections with the authorities. So the new act is seeking now to bring every authority together so that once your license has over a certain amount of points and you have a lot of tickets, a warrant will be out for your arrest, or your license will be getting suspension and things like that. So the act also gives authority for the Island Traffic Authority to transform into a statutory body, meaning not only the courts will be able to suspend license, but the Island Traffic Authority will be able to suspend license. So,
hold on. Sorry, Dante. Let me just read a few things. Mark Hayes says, "Good morning, folks." And Sean Chambers says, "Good morning, Dante. How are you?" He is fine, Sean. See me here? All right, thank you.
Good morning.
But I got into all of this. That's so interesting. Like when things captivate me, I forget the comments. People, I apologize. Let me read them, Dante, and then they get back to what you were saying.
No problem.
Lorna says, something with the people riding the bikes. They speed and daily between cars, buses, and trucks. Laura said, Clarendon roads are the worst. In one day, traveling to Maypen in D Woods, I got not one, but 2 flat tires. I called the roads chopped tire, potholes, or crater shock needs to be changed quite often. Philip said lots of those riders die because they don't wear the proper gears, especially the helmet.
Definitely. Yeah, man. So as I was mentioning now, you were asking a question.
Sandra Sterling did say, "Good morning, Dante. Welcome.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, you were talking about how your body is empowered now to
suspend licenses.
That is good.
Yes.
But the court system is delayed and overburdened. So
man. So there are certain, as my director would say, gifts. Mr. Here, Ken Utier, he would say, if you obtain 10 to 13 points, the gift that you will get is a 6-month suspension. If you obtain 14 to 19 points, you'll get a 1-year suspension. 20 and over, 2 years, and also the court can determine if your license can be revoked. So in addition to suspension, if it is that you are a danger to the road, or certain circumstances may warrant for your license to be revoked. And upon suspension of your license, you will be served a notice. So a notice will be sent that your license will be suspended, and you have 21 days in which to surrender that license to the Island Traffic Authority. Failure to do so results in a fine or imprisonment. So that's something persons need to know. So let me repeat: 10 to 13 points, 6 months of suspension; 14 to 19 points, 1 year; 20 and over, 2 years. So those are some of the things to note.
So that's the minimum fine is 6 months suspension?
Yes. The minimum, and the highest is 2 years, or revocation based on different criteria. So if the court sees it, fit that your license be revoked based on things that you have done or regulations that you have breached, that can also happen.
Right. So is this applicable to the motorcyclists that we're talking about?
Motorcyclists, yes. Because as I mentioned earlier, if they're not wearing a helmet, if their pillion passenger is not wearing a helmet, if they are doing wheelies, they will be fined also, and they'll be getting demerit points. If they're carrying more than 2 persons on the bike, well, if 2 persons are on the bike, so the motorcyclist and the pillion passenger, so if they carry a 3rd person, they'll be fined for that also, because 2 persons. Also, if a motorcyclist has a learner's permit, they should not be carrying a pillion passenger. And when I touch the learner's part, I'll speak more about that. But those are some of the things, and a lot of other fines.
No, don't go no further there. So I have a bike, and it's me and my husband and my son. We cannot carry the son and the wife same time.
No, because it has to be 2 persons.
Especially if you only have a learner's permit.
So no, if you have a learner's now, if you are the one.
No, even with my good license.
License, yes. So it's supposed to be you and the pillion passenger, no more. 1 pillion passenger.
All right.
Yeah, I hope they can enforce it, because oftentimes you see, like, on the road, I'm like, where are the police? Like with the cars when they drive through traffic, I'm like, police should be driving along traffic so they could see what's happening and, pull over. You go mad, like from Falmouth to Montego Bay. Like, I literally have heart attack because they literally drive down on you to the last minute and force you to get out of the way. So they could go. It's like some demon in them.
Yeah, I believe that. So I have to wonder.
But they need more police on the road, and I guess, like with your department, how you said, like, you guys are empowered now. Are you guys also empowered to actually go through traffic, like take?
All right, so we do spot checks. So our officers, especially from the depots, because the Island Traffic Authority, we control the examination depots. Yeah. So like in each parish where there are spot checks, we check vehicles and so our stop motorists along with the police officers, to find out if the vehicles are defective, to find out if they're being compliant with the certificate of fitness issued. So if you get a certificate of fitness, randomly, they can stop you to check to see if, like, what you got the fitness certificate for, if your vehicle is actually operating within what the certificate of fitness is for. So if you got the certificate of fitness because your vehicle is fit and you didn't have any fully tinted windscreen and you didn't have the tires are in good condition, and then you find that 2 months, 3 months after they stop you alter the vehicle now because you get the fitness. Because some people do that, so they make sure the vehicle is okay and everything to get the fitness, and then once they get the fitness, they go and alter and put in this and put on that, and they just drive without a care because they have the certificate of fitness. So police and the IT officers can actually stop them.
What's the IT officer? Or the
island traffic, yeah.
So
they can.
How do I know an island traffic officer? Is that the persons who wear?
They have on a vest that marks. They have on a vest that says Island Traffic Authority on it. Okay. So that it's a green. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, man, I was saying they wear a vest that has Island Traffic Authority printed on it, so they can be easily identified. Because sometimes Transport Authority do their own spot checks as well. That's the taxi operators, public transport sector. So they sometimes stop taxis to do their checks. So to differentiate them, our officers, but they wear their uniforms. I think that's white and gray, so you can know them differently. So our ITA officers wear the vest with the Island Traffic Authority logo and name printed along with the police.
So I'm thinking, I have 2 questions. I'm thinking, with all these people doing all these inspections, how is so bad? Like, are they not doing it? Do they not, like, what I mean? Like, how is that bad?
They do it, but I guess what happens, because in Jamaica, especially when you have your friends and your links, if 5 people are stopped at a spot check location, you find that those 5 people call their friends and tell them that the spot check is going on. So things like that happen. So it's a matter of, making sure you don't announce, just pop up and just choose a random location where they're not expecting you. And in the process of doing those spot checks, the license plate will also be removed if your vehicle is not conforming to the regulations. And then you'll have to, yes.
You speak that they can just pick a random location and hold a spot check. Do they need to have the police there with them?
Yes.
Okay.
Because they would have to, so when the license plate is taken, the license plate will have to be taken to the police station. So
Okay,
after remedying the effects now, the defects. So when your vehicle is found to have defects, you get a E1, which is called a certificate of defects. That outlines, why the license plate was taken off, and you need to fix these issues. And then once you remedy those defects, you come back to get your vehicle inspected so that you can get back your license plate, you'll get an E2, which means certificate of defects remedied. So that now will give the police permission to basically give you your license plate. So you can't get your license plate.
My license plate at the station
until you remedy the defects. So if your tire needs to be changed, all of those things, you need to take off the full. Fixed. Yeah.
Okay, I have another question. Sorry to be throwing off, because sometimes things just come to
no
our
problem.
mind.
They ask all of them questions. You live America, you not drive out here. Me
but
very
when I come down, I want to be
drive
safe.
out here.
I want to make it back home. Here. I want to make it back home. But my question, does your department do traffic lights?
No, that's National Works Agency. National Works Agency. They have responsibility for all road works and traffic signs and signs and all those things and markings. Yeah, NWA.
So, but don't you guys work together and make recommendations?
Yes, because
some areas definitely need a light. Because where I live in Hague, you actually come out on the highway. There's no light, and people turn. So you have some serious accidents right there.
Yeah, man, we work along.
There's a light there, to direct people because everybody's speeding from Montego Bay, Ochi coming down.
Yeah.
There's a lot of accidents right there. So I think there needs a light. And when you're going
Hague Main Road, yeah, man.
Yeah,
that's another hot spot in Trelawney and Duncan's.
They do need lights. And so I'm like, nobody see this, that this would help to reduce the accidents with tourists, because I guess the bus is always rushing to take them back to the cruise ship or wherever.
Yeah. And that's where usually the crashes occur. Because you notice I keep saying crashes instead of accidents. So crashes, accidents are not preventable because it's an accident. But a lot of what we are seeing in Jamaica are actually crashes because they can be prevented. Yeah. People can slow down. People can overtake properly. People can keep to their proper traffic lane. So those things are preventable. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the traffic lighting, because before we were Ministry of Transport and Mining, we were Ministry of Transport and Works and other names before that, housing and all of that. So NWA was actually a part of the ministry until the name changed to Ministry of Transport and Mining. But we're still on the same compound. So, and we still work together because they're a part of road safety as well.
Yeah.
So we make recommendations to them from time to time, because that's how we get some of our, like when we do assessments and surveys, we give NWA a report because we are active on the road, as you know, Michelle. So we go to a lot of schools. We go to a lot of schools, actually. I remember when we went to Duncan's All Age in Trelawney, and I do.
Trelawney, you don't go to another parish.
Yes, man.
Every parish.
Yeah, man, every parish. But I'm just, yeah, man, we do all parishes, man. I'm just giving an example now, because when we did Trelawney the other day, the reason we did Trelawney, we targeted Trelawney in September. That's when we went to Trelawney. We found that based on statistics at the time, that was the only parish that had a 100% increase in fatalities. So we chose that topic, we chose that parish, and we went there. We did Dunk. I remember, because we had other officers that went to other schools, but when I went to Duncan's, what I do with my officers, I give them a checklist. So we do a little survey at the school. Is there a pedestrian crossing? Is there traffic signs leading up to the school? Road signs like there's a school or there's a pedestrian crossing ahead, or slow school zone, things like that. So we did that. We do a checklist. We also find out if there's a school crossing warden and things like that. So I remember seeing the pedestrian crossing sign, but the pedestrian crossing at that school was very pale. I didn't even know that one was there. So I made that note. When I came back to office now, and like a few weeks or so after, a month after, the principal reached out to us because apparently a parent wanted to contribute to painting the pedestrian crossing. So they had to reach out to us because they wanted to find out, because a lot of people just paint pedestrian crossings because they see a need, but there are actually guidelines to be followed. It has to be gazetted, meaning it has to be a legal pedestrian crossing. It has to be a certain, NWA has to ensure that it's the right size, it's, you know, and that it can be positive, and that it can be painted at the proper location and how far away it must be. So a lot of technicalities when you're doing a pedestrian crossing. So it's not just saying, oh, yes, I need a pedestrian crossing. Let me just get a paint and just draw a line and just go so and go so and go so. It has to be gazetted. So when they reached out to us, we had to check with NAA to find out if it's a pedestrian crossing that's gazetted, or we had to check with the municipal corporation. But we actually found out that it was gazetted. So when we found out, we said, all right, it's good. So NAA now had to go and do the assessment, because remember now it was pale. So we don't know exactly where it started, where it ended, you know, how wide it was, things like that. So they had to go to the school to assess that pedestrian crossing. And we also had to tell them the proper paint to use, because a lot of persons use, you know, paint that like water paint. So, you know, when rain fall and anything, you know, so that I go wash out.
Yeah.
So we had to recommend the proper paint, which is thermoplastic. So they got that pedestrian crossing done, and the students are enjoying it.
Oh, that's good. And it's safe. So Dr. Diana, quick question when he was talking about school. Does your school, Dr. Diana is the president of a college. Does your school have meet the qualifications and have a pedestrian?
I just wrote a note to say, is it standard to have these signs on pedestrian crossing? Because there are 3 schools I kind of think of right off the cuff, including my own institution, that doesn't have any signage that says slow school ahead. There is nothing to slow down the traffic that is coming down the road.
And no speed limit
and
sign.
there is no pedestrian crossing there. So it seemingly is not standardized. How does one address that?
All right, so because that's really NAA said, what I can do is find out. So you're saying where's that located?
Well, I can think there is Williamsfield, where Catholic College of Mandeville is, and right beside, on either side of us, we have 2 basic schools.
And there's
no pedestrian crossing, and there's no signage that says slow, don't blow your horn, quiet, nothing to reduce the speed limit.
So that's something I'm going to make a note of.
On Convent Avenue, there is no pedestrian crossing there either. There is Sacred Heart up in Christiana, and in fact, there down the road is Christiana Least. There is no pedestrian crossing or signing down there.
All right.
But I'm happy that you raised that.
After this interview, I would like you to send me that information so I can put it to my director and see how best we can make assessments and find out what can be done.
All right. Thanks much. Somebody, Heslop wanted to know, going back to that accident with the man with the 100 tickets outstanding, how many points did he have deducted at that time?
All right, so when it comes to points, it's not deducted, it's added. So the points are added to your license. So you start with 0. So when you get the points, they're added. So I can't speak to that driver. Why? Because each offense attracts different points. So you may have an offense, for example, not wearing a seatbelt.
So he would probably, if he was even getting 1 point per offense.
So that would be a lot. That's basically over 100 points already. I can tell you that, because I think the minimum is 2.
Yeah.
Probably over 200, because the minimum is 2 points, I believe. Because we're not wearing a seatbelt is 2 points. And you have others that are 4 points, 6 points, all of those points. There are different points that will add up. So it's probably over 200, 300 points. So his license should have been revoked. I wouldn't even say suspended. Revoked.
Okay, let me read some of the comments before we move on. Sandra said, I was rushed to a hospital in Jamaica on a bike pack. I wasn't wearing a helmet, and that was the scariest moment of my life.
Oh, Lord.
It was just 2 of us on the bike, but I was double scared with all factors. There's potholes, speeding, feet hanging off. The Lord was with us. Why risk it? As I said, one of the most corrupt institutions we have in our nation is the National Police. It's the same back home in Dominican Republic with motorcycles. He said, so far, the Main Traffic Act sounds great. However, if the police doesn't crack down from the get-go island-wide, February 1st, sad to say, nothing will change.
Yeah, it has a lot to do with enforcement. Yeah,
they must be educated about it. Garvan said, better late than never. Blessings, everyone. Blessings, Garvan. Mark said, the traffic lawlessness is just part of the overall lack of respect for law. That is not the case in many other countries. Norma said, you guys drive the same way here in the States. We just talk about Jamaica. Mark says, there are so many agencies that has had to remember who does what just to put a
No,
safe.
let me defend that, Michelle. Did somebody say that you guys drive the same way in the States?
Mhm.
No, and let me tell you, no. I am on the boulevard, and the boulevard has 2 lanes on either side. And there's a 3rd lane on some spots that allow for the public, for the buses, huh?
Yeah.
And then there is a section that is called a soft shoulder. And it is designed and intended for you to pull over if you have a problem. Right, Dante?
Yeah.
Well,
Could you repeat that for me?
The soft shoulder on the
Yes.
highways are designed, are intended
Yes.
for you to pull over if
Indicate
you
and
have an
pull
issue.
over. Yeah.
A safe space. Let me tell you, is the taxi lane, is the bike man lane, is
Yep.
you just take yourself from out of that lane, because them blowing you, them don't expect to find you in there. So nobody drives like that in the States. So maybe defend you, Michelle. Nobody drives like that in the States.
But while you were talking, I remember the last time I was in Jamaica and I was driving in traffic and I said to myself, Jamaica definitely need a lane on the way to Montego Bay. There were 3 ambulances in the traffic, right? I said, I hope nothing serious or nobody's dying on those ambulances. Nobody would move and allow them to go forward. So I'm like, why they don't build an extra lane for them or something? Because
Actually,
nobody moves.
Under the new Road Traffic Act, there's a section in the act that speaks to right of passage of emergency vehicles, and persons can be fined for not pulling to the curb, to the nearest edge of the road. So the police vehicle, the ambulance, the fire truck, or any vehicle or the ambulance from the Department of Correctional Services that has a flashing light, sirens, and horn, sirens, and flashing lights. If persons don't pull over to give those people the right of passage, they can be fined. Also, if they drive over a fire hose or so, or if they follow too closely to those vehicles, they can be fined, because they shouldn't be tailing an emergency vehicle.
Oh, wow, this app sounds really good. Like it go address a lot of the problems.
Yes,
As I said, just enforcement.
That will address some issues, but I still have an ongoing concern.
Which one?
No, there are times when it is obvious, and I've shared the story and I'll share it again, that I'm on Halfway Tree Road, going to turn onto Chelsea to make that left turn, which is legal, onto Chelsea. And there's a vehicle with flashing lights that is not marked an emergency vehicle, and it's not marked a police vehicle, but with flashing lights, and therefore it commands us to pull over. Do we really have to pull over for these vehicles that are not emergency vehicles?
It's a regular vehicle. That's a regular sedan.
Vitara. And it had the noise on, and it had
noise as in siren, like a siren also?
Yes.
All right, so I don't know why that has
inside of it.
All right, so I don't think, no, that vehicle, because that emergency vehicle should be operated by members of the Constabulary Force, Fire Brigade, Department of Correctional Service, and ambulance companies. That's what the act says. So that vehicle with a siren or flashing light, inside, and it's a regular, that does not constitute an emergency.
And let me tell you what was disturbing for me was that we pulled over for that vehicle to fly in front of us, and we both ended up at the same jerk center.
Oh Lord, no,
minutes of each other.
That's not an emergency vehicle, and I think I think if I remember correctly, they can be fined for yeah.
No, me telling me vex.
I would be too.
So did you speak with that person?
Who, me? If they're bad enough, I have them own siren. Imagine, look at me.
No, it's not a police.
I mean,
it's not a firefighter.
Passenger and I looked at each other when we turned into the jerk shop and said, "Wait, is here some go?"
So he's rushing. So he's rushing to get. He's rushing to get jerk chicken.
Jump out and gone.
Yeah, in a rush to get the jerk chicken on time, hot off the grill.
No, and the other thing that bugs me too is these vehicles for the embassies. They seem, I am coming, and I'm sharing these stories. I am coming on Barbican Road, and this vehicle with one lone policeman in front is going the wrong way on the Jacks Hill side of the roadway, they are driving towards Barbican.
That's on a
This is
one-way?
not an emergency vehicle. One lone policeman leading this diplomat vehicle in the wrong direction. Who is going to find those? What are the consequences?
That's
for
what I'm
that
gonna
kind of
ask,
individual? It cannot continue. Does the act address this?
I'm gonna have to look back at it because that act it has so many changes. We're still meeting with stakeholders and discussing the regulations and going into all the speaking to persons that it will affect. So I'm gonna actually make a note to look at that. But there are several regulations concerning different operating on the road in terms of changing lanes, how you operate, how you drive on the road, what you can be fined for, the different offenses, the demerit points, all of those things. So over time, I'm going to actually look at that.
Yes,
Yeah,
please look into it as to whether or not the diplomats them can
There should
and
be.
the politicians are at liberty
They
to
should.
use one policeman to carry out them whole slew of family members.
Yeah, they should.
Islop says, I remember coming to Jamaica and there's a crosswalk in St. Mary, Galena, close to the school. I was trying to cross the road and put my arm out and no one stopped. How do you use a crosswalk?
Actually, you know, that curb drill, because what I just mentioned is the curb drill or the hand in the air drill. That's something that we actually teach the children because it helps. I don't know, it's just that some drivers don't want to stop, but we actually recommend that persons put up their hand because it helps. It helps with crossing, especially if there's a small child or so. It helps to elevate them so that the drivers can see them. But some drivers don't care. And that's why when we go into the schools and we teach, we talk to the students, we tell them that, listen, even though you put up your hand and one car stops, while you're crossing, you have to still look. You still have to look because there are persons who will overtake and then the next lane. So even though one lane might stop, the one coming from your right, the other lane, you have to wait for them to stop. You have to look out for bike men coming through the lanes. You have to look out for the ones that will just overtake.
Yeah. Okay, I have another question. I see you say educating like students. I see you do the tour around schools, but do you educate adults, especially with all these changes? Like, how do you do it? Like, go to community?
So we go to, like, for example, we have 2 town halls actually going this month. So we target the different players that the act will affect. So, for example, motorcyclists. And let me give you a story about the motorcyclists. We did a training. We work alongside the National Road Safety Council, and we target motorcyclists in parishes where they are prone to crashes, where their hotspots are great and the fatalities are great. So last year, April, we did a cohort in Mountainside, St. Elizabeth. December, we did another set. So the same Mountainside, St. Elizabeth. And so we go in and we have training with them. We have professionals come in and teach them how to traverse the roadways on a motorcycle. So they have that practical part. We have presentation where we talk to them about protective devices, how to protect themselves generally on the road, what to do, what not to do, what they can be fined for, the offenses, penalties, demerit points, all of those things. And then at the end of the program, they get free helmets. Well, they get the free helmets because we, the council and all of that, we procure those helmets. So we actually get helmets for them. So they receive the helmet free. Good. And they get other perks such as, like, maybe they'll give like the best rider or the person who did the training the best. They get like free insurance for their bikes. They get like
so you hold on. Where is this and how do I participate?
So they all right. So the council targets areas where motorcycle fatalities are great. So like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover. I know they did a training before I joined the unit. They did one in Westmoreland. I think it's Petersfield. I think that's the name in Westmoreland.
Yeah, so, Petersfield.
Yeah. So they did one in Mountainside. So there's one that's going to come. I don't know if we're still going to do St. Elizabeth. They're actually working on that now. It should maybe be next month or so. So we're targeting the motorcyclists and, letting them know. And a story that came out of that one that we did in December. One of the trainees from the April session, he came back in December to watch his friends get trained. So while watching his friends get trained, he stood at the door and he was looking in, and then he said to those at the front, like the executive director, and so he said to them, he said to Mrs. Fletcher, Miss, so the helmet you give no good. So everybody concerned, so we stopped and we said, what do you mean the helmet not good? So we went outside to talk to him first, because we wonder what I talk about. So he said, he was driving his bike, and well, that's what he said. That's his story, that a woman hit him off the bike. So it was involved in a crash. He fell off the bike, and he said the helmet cracked. So when he said that, now all of us there are saying, okay, you're standing here today. You're standing here to tell us this story. And you look hearty, you're strong, and you're there strong and everything. And the fact that the helmet mash up, that means the helmet did its job.
Exactly.
The helmet did its job. So the fact that you there tell with the story now, you're not limb, and your foot not broke, and you're in a hospital, you weren't hospitalized.
You can't talk straight.
And he wasn't hospitalized. It means the helmet did its job. Then he said 3 other persons who were at the training in April, they also met in crashes and their helmet split and all of that. So we asked, where are those 3 persons now? They're at work because they're okay. So we're like,
what good testimony.
Good
testimony for you, so I said, where your helmet?
So we brought him in now because we went to talk to him outside. So we brought him inside now where all the trainees are to tell the story. So we said, all right, what do you have to say to them now? So he now made a whole U-turn now and start telling, so he's now on the positive side now. So he was like, I'm imploring you all to wear your helmet because it saves life. So because of that, we actually gave him a new helmet because the one that he got cracked. So I asked him, what do you drive now? He said, I'm not ride the bike because I'm not having a helmet. Unless him go round town. But like if we go anywhere far and say, no, where him not drive. So we gave him a brand new helmet. And I think he also got a check.
Wow.
So
that's a promotion, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
that's good. That's funny. So I'm reading some more comments.
Oh, good.
Mark said there are so many. I read that one. Mark said people don't drive like Jamaica in the US. Jamaican drivers are far worse. He said a lot of Jamaicans won't be aware of the new act. How will it be communicated to the nation? I guess you just addressed that.
Yeah, man, I'll address some more.
Yeah, Mark said diplomats and their vehicles generally cannot be fined. It can be seen as harassment.
Yeah, but them need to observe the road.
Yeah, but suppose
like
they do it and somebody did, like they go the wrong way and somebody had come, like they need to abide by the rules, not because
they must abide by the rules. There can be no such exceptions. Heslop says, why not put up some sleeping policemen on some of the problematic roads to slow down the traffic? My immediate response is we already have those, but what is your take on it, Dante?
Also, it's not every road can have a sleeping police based on the design of that road also. So I know some people in some communities just put up sleeping police, but especially when it comes to government roads, there are certain criteria for a sleeping police. That's a technical part, so I can't get into that. I think that's NWA and parish councils and all of those things. But in continuing the question about public education, so I mentioned the motorcycle outreach and training. We go into schools, so apart from primary schools where we're going and talking about road safety, and so we target what we're doing, especially we started this week. There are new regulations surrounding learner's permit. So we're in high schools now talking to students who are at the age where you can get the learners, which is 17 or approaching that age. So that's one way in which we are, telling them about that new process. We go to Parent Teachers Association to talk to parents. We go to companies. So sometimes we reach out to these places to go in and talk, and sometimes they invite us because that's something that we do. Persons invite us and we go. So we go to companies where they have a fleet of drivers. So like if it's a distribution company that have like a lot of bike men, bus drivers, all that go out, we go into those companies, we talk to them. We go to the island because we have the 15 examination depots across the island. We have outside broadcasts at those depots where we target the customers because that's one of the best places to target the persons who drive. So we have our OBs there. We target them. We tell them about the Road Traffic Act. We give them our brochures and flyers. We also we have interviews on radio. We have interviews on TV. This medium right here is another way of learning about the Road Traffic Act. So I'm grateful for that. We have on our social media pages, Island Traffic Authority, JA, Road Safety Unit, JA. And we're also in the process now of creating new ads that we'll be rolling out soon. Some have already started on TV, some are on radio. And just generally, we'll be going into different communities. We'll be partnering with the police, So the other day, the police invited us to a St. Catherine South Police Division town hall where we spoke about that the police was there, Island Traffic Authority was there, we spoke. So we're targeting many areas. We're targeting the parish councils because they also have a part to play in road safety, the fire brigade, NWA, the parish courts, tax office, tax office and the payment of fees and all that. So we're meeting with all the stakeholders and players.
That's good.
So the education process has started. It's just that it will be ramped up more, especially when the act takes effect. You'll be learning more because we can't do everything all at once, and also not everything under the act will be rolled out on February 1. Some things will be phased out. So you have some things that will be taking effect immediately, such as the suspension of driver's license, and some others, there's certain infrastructure that will have to be in place for them to be rolled out. So those are being worked on. So over time, you'll get the rollout, so that person's.
But I know here you mentioned colleges.
Oh yes, colleges as well.
But they give me a lot of accidents with these college students, especially when they get a new car.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Michelle, because the age group 19 to 30 or 19 to 29, that's the age group with the majority of the 488 fatalities last year. The young people account for the highest, and males in general. So when we look at gender, 86% are males. When it comes to the fatalities, women are more known to cause property damage based on assessments, and so they are the ones like to hit a car or to
I can't park
or to back up into a vehicle or back up into a wall. They cause more property damages, or sometimes the fatalities that we see women involved in are a result of males driving. So the females are usually like passengers or so, or maybe a male ran into their vehicle, but. Not saying that females don't die or cause accidents, but majority are.
But what you're really saying that the female are far more careful and they don't cause crashes usually.
As much as men.
That's my takeaway.
But how do you educate
their male counterparts?
But how do you educate them to protect themselves, the passengers? Do you do like courses to help them to protect themselves? Because like what I'm talking about, like sometimes I see the buses driving crazy. But the people in there still are the taxi man.
So we talk to them and so when we go we do talk to them because even when, for example, because you mentioned colleges, we go to colleges. The other day we were at Thursday, we were at Norman Manley Law School. We had a session there with them. I mean, the lawyers there, they gave us, they're practicing their debating skills because they were there. And
always.
They did well, and they brought videos to show us and ask us who is wrong. And in this, it was a very good session. I think that was a good way to start the year at Norman Manley Law School. So we talked to them about what they must do. We're talking about, speaking up when they're in vehicles and the driver is and all of that. We're talking about even PPVs and what to look out for, ensure that there's a transport authority sticker, the driver's badge must be displayed. We're talking about, ensuring that you're safe in the vehicle, wearing your seatbelt, especially in the back, because we Jamaicans, we don't wear seatbelts in the back. And under the new Road Traffic Act, if the driver is not wearing a seatbelt, that's a ticket. If the passenger is not wearing a seatbelt in the front and back, providing that there's a seatbelt, that's a fine. And also,
who get that fine?
The driver will be getting.
Not the passenger.
Not the passenger. So it's the responsibility of the driver
to ensure that you hear Dr. Diana.
So, but he says a very good thing. He says, providing that there is a seatbelt. So if we don't have seatbelts,
and you're not wearing it, because I know some vehicles, especially some Probox and some other vehicles, they don't have seatbelt or they remove the seatbelt. I think there's something that speaks to if there is for example, if the vehicle comes with a seatbelt and you remove it or something like that, I think there's something that speaks to that. I'm not gonna. I don't want to be quoted on it.
But Dante, we will certainly have you back because this has to be an ongoing conversation.
Yes.
The takeaway from it is that I'm not carrying no passenger. Let them know wear their seatbelt and then I'll have to get fined. But I
was saying earlier before I heard something about you're mentioning something about the Palisados crash, and you wanted to know what happened.
Yes. But
yeah, man. So the Russian, he was charged for 4 counts of causing death by dangerous driving, and I think today is the 14th. Next week, the 18th, he's supposed to appear in court. All
right, so that's a good update to have. Sterling Green says it's an encouraging incentive and there we have to go far way for compliance. She was referring to the awards that you give to the bike riders who go through the training, in that
And we're
they get the
successful.
helmets for their own safety. That's a really
Okay.
ironic testimony that this man come to complain about the.
None of those motorcyclists, based on statistics and assessment, none of those motorcyclists that have received helmets, none of them have died.
That's good. That's a positive. Let me read
Thank
some
you.
comments. Oh, you finished with those comments, Dr. Dana?
Yeah, ma'am.
Let me read some. Mark says, we can't hire enough police for the people to abide by the law. Civil society only works when the vast majority buy into law and order. That is true. Elaine, hopefully with the education that you're doing, they will. Elaine said, that's very good. Sandra said, Dante, thank you for being here. Your expertise and educational highlights were greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, and God bless.
You're welcome.
Yeah, John said, Happy New Year. Sandra said, Bestie, Michelle, Leo, and for the listeners, it was great seeing you all again. I really miss you all. Have a wonderful day, and God bless you all. Before I leave, I have one question in regards to children traveling in vehicles. It is required for them to have a car seat in Jamaica? Because a lot of them I don't see with car seats, so sometimes I don't even use it.
Actually, Michelle, yes. Actually, there are two. There's a difference. So for young children like babies and so 0 to 4, I believe there's a infant carrier. That's the one that has the strap. So that has its own strap. And then there's a booster seat now for like 5 to 7, 5 to 8.
Oh, like the US. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
Under the Road Traffic Act.
Hold on, no. Dante, I see trouble ahead for the taxi industry, because how them going to transport all these little people to school if they need to have booster seat sitting in? Is there an exception for public passenger?
I'm going to look. I'm going to look at that. I don't want to speak to that directly, but but for private vehicles where you have a car, you own a car, and you have a child, and you don't have a child restraint, or the child is not wearing a seatbelt, you'll be fined for that child not being in a child restraint or not wearing a seatbelt. Okay. And the demerit points for that is higher than the passenger not wearing the seatbelt. So you get 2 points for the passenger not wearing the seatbelt, but you get 4 points if the child is not wearing the seatbelt.
Oh, you hear people?
Wow. Dante, we have to continue the conversation, and perhaps a little bit closer to when the law is going, the act is going to take effect. And to become law, because there's so much more that we need to speak about as it relates to public passenger transport, concerns and rights of passengers, so that they need to be educated so that they can be aware. So them can
and you need to go by Dr. Diana's school too.
I was actually going to say a while ago, if persons are on here in Jamaica and they want us to visit their schools, they can reach out to us, RSU at RSU, that's Road Safety Unit, RSU.
Road Safety Unit at?
Yeah, man, no, RSU. So it's the acronym RSU at MTW. The M stands for Ministry, TW Transport, and the W is Works, but we're no longer at Works, but mtw.gov.jm. And you can send us an invitation to come and speak at your school or at your event, to talk about road safety or the Road Traffic Act, or just to educate the public, educate your people about road safety. You can also follow us on Instagram at Road Safety Unit JA and Island Traffic Authority.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dante, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for joining, and we're looking forward to continuing this conversation throughout the year, but more so ahead of the act.
Thank you. I'm glad you came. I appreciate it.
I'm glad I was able to make it.
Yes.
All right. Have a great day.
You too. Have a wonderful Sabbath.
Your listeners and viewers as well.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Sterling says the passengers should be charged for not wearing as long as it is in place. Yes, and it's something we can probably discuss.
Sterling. Yeah, next time. All right.
All right, Dante.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye. We're gonna do the birthday shout out.
Yes, Mish, we need to do the birthday shout out. It
was a really good.
I thought it really was a good guest. I'm happy that we had him on, and to start the year like this, so that perhaps through all collective effort we can seek to reduce
bring and prevent the heart attacks that I keep having when I come to Jamaica.
Hard feelings that you have. In terms of birthday, one of my niece's son had a birthday. He lives in the UK, So I'm probably gone to in bed now, but Jazzy had a birthday. He turned 10 earlier this week. And so Jazz, happy birthday. Trust that you enjoyed the day and your mom took great care of you and your dad as well.
Yeah, my cousin, his birthday is on the 16th. Andale, happy birthday. And my other cousin Vaughn, his birthday was the 3rd, I think, of January. So happy belated birthday. And one of my favorite twins, their birthday is later this week, I believe. I want to wish you all, like Brittany and Candice, a happy birthday. And one of my closest friends,
Who's
Shauna.
Brittany? My Brittany?
No, not that Brittany. My
Okay.
twin. Yeah, she's Dr. Brittany, actually. Dr. Brittany.
Okay.
And her sister, my close friend, is a attorney at JAG officer. And also my best friend in Canada, childhood. We're not coming to as much, but Shauna, happy birthday when it comes. And Philip said his birthday was on the 5th. So happy belated birthday, Philip. And Mark said at the end of the day, dangerous drivers need to have vehicle seats procedure to deal with. That is true. And we're out of time. That was a good show, 12 o'clock.
Whoa, guys, I enjoyed that. That was good. Mrs. was good to see you. What good?
Yeah, bye.
See you next week.
Yeah, bye.